Okay, so hello everyone. It's been quite a while since I've read from A Lion to Guard Us, and that's because not many people have looked at my videos. So I'm hoping that when I read the rest of this book today, that children will listen to the rest of the book, and then maybe next week I will start a new book. Okay, so A Lion to Guard Us, Chapter 13, The Devil Doll. Master Buck the minister talked to Amanda, Jemmy, and Meg. Dr. Kreider was a good man, he said. Now he is in a better world. Yes, sir, said Amanda, but she would not believe the doctor was gone. It was like a dream, she thought, and someday she would wake from it. She would wake and find him there. After a week, a sailor came to look at the chests in the hold. He found the one with Dr. Kreider's medicines in it. He picked it up and set it on his shoulder. Where are you taking it? Asked Amanda. To the captain's cabin, answered the sailor. Somehow she could not pretend after that. With the chest gone, she knew that Dr. Kreider was gone too. He was gone, Mother was gone, and she wanted to go away by herself and cry. But where could she go to be alone? Fear came over her. Mother had died, Dr. Kreider had left them. How could she be sure that Father was waiting in the new world? She saw Jemmy and Meg watching her, almost as if they knew what she was thinking. She tried to pretend that all was well. She sang them a song, and she told them a story. She dug into one of the chests and found some scraps of cloth. What are you doing? Asked Jemmy. I'm going to make something, she said. What? He asked. It's a surprise. By candlelight, while they were asleep, she made a doll for Meg and a ball for Jemmy. In the morning, she gave them their presents. But Meg would not take the doll. She would not even touch it. Amanda looked at it. In the daylight, she saw how ugly it was. It had a crooked grin. The pieces of string she had used for hair looked like snakes. It was a devil doll. The ball was not much better. It had no more shape than a beanbag. Jemmy took it and then gave it back to her. Could I have the door knocker? He asked. It's not a plaything, said Amanda. I want it, he said. It was in one of the chests. She got it for him. When they went back up on deck, he showed the knocker to Anne and David Hopkins. A lion's head, said Anne. She and her brother wanted to play with it. No, it's mine. Jemmy ran away. The Hopkins children ran after him. Now and then he stopped and knocked on the deck with the knocker. Amanda heard him say, knock, knock, here comes Jemmy. She took the ball she had made and threw it overboard. She threw the devil doll after it. Almost at once she felt better, as if she had thrown away some of her sadness and some of her fear. Chapter 14. Brass or Gold. That evening they sat in the hold. Amanda was teaching Meg to sew. Jemmy was rubbing the lion's head with a piece of cloth. The men put finger marks on it, he said. What men? Asked Amanda. Master Waters and Master Carter, answered Jemmy. Master Hopkins, too. John Rolfe came across the hold. Amanda asked him, How is Mistress Rolfe? Better, thank you, Amanda, he said. I must speak to you. He knelt beside her. He spoke in a low voice. This lion head that your brother has, what is it? It's a door knocker. Where'd you get it? From our father. Then it wasn't Dr. Kreider's? No, sir. What's it made of? Father said it was brass. Do you know what people are saying about it? They are saying it is brass on the outside and gold underneath. She looked at the lion's head in Jemmy's hands. Well, how could that be? They said Dr. Kreider had his gold melted down and made it into a door knocker. Why? So he could take it to the new world in secret, said John Rolfe. But that's foolish, she said. Speak low, he said. Someone might be listening. It's only a brass door knocker, she replied. It used to be on our house in London. How could people think it might be gold? Someone might have told them. Who? John Rolfe looked at Jemmy. Oh, she said. And if people believe the knocker is gold, said Master Rolfe, they can make trouble. But it's only brass. But if they think it's gold, they might try to take it from you. He left her. She whispered to Jemmy, Put it away. What? The knocker. Put it away. Why? Do as I say. Crosspatch, he said. But he put the knocker into his pocket. In the morning, she took it from him. When no one was looking, she hid it in one of their sea chests. They went up on deck. I want the knocker, he said. She asked him, Did you tell Anne and David it was gold? He looked down. Did you? Yes. Why? They thought their ball was so good, I said my lion's head was better because it was gold. And now people think it is gold. Don't you see? They'll try to take it away from you. Robert Waters came up to them. Could I see the door knocker, he asked. I put it away, said Amanda. You'd better have someone take care of it for you, he said. I'll keep it safe if you like. It's only brass, she said. He looked at Jemmy, then at her. She was not sure he believed her. Chapter 15. The Storm. The talk went on for days. Was the lion's head gold? Was it only brass? Had it been Dr. Kreider's? Where had it really come from? Then it was forgotten. There was something that mattered more. There was the storm. It began with a few low clouds. The air was heavy and hot. It seemed to press down until everyone felt restless. Some grew angry without knowing why. A young gentleman came out of his room and threw his dish across the hold. "The food on this ship isn't fit for pigs," he shouted. Mistress Hopkins talked in a loud voice. "They said we would be in Virginia in 5 weeks. Now it's the end of July. 7 weeks we've been at sea. How much longer will it be? I'd like to know." Amanda was on deck with Jemmy and Meg when the wind sprang up. It was a fierce, hot wind that burned their faces and tore at their clothes. There was a long blue flash of lightning, and thunder shook the ship. They ran for the hold. Jemmy went ahead. Amanda helped Meg down the ladder. It was dark as night in the hold. Someone lighted candles. Amanda found a box for them to sit on, but Jemmy wouldn't sit down. "I'm not going to stay here," he said. "There's no air to breathe." Robert Waters came by and gave him a pat on the head. "Don't you fret," he said. "It's just another storm. It will soon blow over." But it was more than just another storm. A sailor came down to look for leaks. "In all my days at sea," he said, "I've never seen such as this." The waves were higher than the ship, he told them. The deck was deep in water. The wind was tearing the sails to bits. The ship rolled from side to side, and the people were thrown back and forth. Boxes and chests were thrown back and forth with them. The hold had been closed against the storm. "Thank heaven we're safe here," said Master Hopkins. "You call this safe?" cried Mistress Hopkins, as she dodged a sliding chest. "Well, at least we're dry," said Master Hopkins. "We won't be dry for long," she said. The hold had begun to leak. "To the pumps," called John Rolfe. "All hands to help pump out the water." "I'll help," said Amanda. "Not you," said John Rolfe, and she went back to Jemmy and Meg. For 2 days, the ship was tossed and shaken in the storm. Amanda and Jemmy and Meg clung together. They heard Master Hopkins' voice. "The ship is sinking, the ship is sinking." "Are we sinking?" asked Jemmy. And here's a picture of the ship in the hold. "No," said Amanda. "Well, how do you know?" asked Jemmy. "Listen to me," she said. I'll tell you a story." "What?" "I said I'll tell you a story." We couldn't hear it. "I'll make you hear." Above the roar of the wind and rain, Amanda shouted. "There were 2 sisters and their brother. They were on a ship and there was a storm. Can you hear?" "Yes," he said. "It was a great storm. It went on, and then—" "What?" asked Jemmy. "It was over. And there was land." "Where?" asked Jemmy. "In the middle of the sea. They got off the ship and they were safe on land." He was quiet then. Both he and Meg were quiet for a long time. There was another day of the storm and another night, and the ship stayed afloat. But there were new leaks. The pump could not keep the water out of the hold. People began to climb up the ladder and onto the deck. Amanda felt the water rising over her feet. She pushed Jemmy and Meg up the ladder ahead of her. They were on deck, and the rain and waves swept over them. Amanda was thrown off her feet. She reached out for Jemmy and Meg, but only Jemmy was there. "Meg!" she cried. "She's gone!" cried Jemmy. "Meg! Meg!" They tumbled across the deck and came up against the animal pen. It was broken now. The animals were gone. "I see her," said Jemmy. Meg was there. She was holding on to a wooden bar of the pen. "Don't let go," said Amanda. Now she and Jemmy were holding on to the pen. A woman was there beside them. She screamed each time the ship rolled. It seemed to Amanda that hours went by. Then she felt a kind of stillness about her. She lifted her head. A little light had broken through the clouds. A cry went up. "Land!" There was another cry. "Rocks! We're on the rocks!" The Sea Adventure rose and fell. There was a grinding, splintering crash, as if she were breaking into 1,000 pieces. I'm going to read one more chapter now, and then I'll put another post up later. Chapter 16, Ashore. Amanda was on her feet. Something strange had happened. The deck no longer shivered and tipped beneath her. She could stand. She could walk. She tried to look over the rail. The wind blew spray into her face. "Get up, Meg," said Jemmy. "We've stopped." John Rolfe and Mistress Rolfe were at the rail. "Now I see," he was saying. The ship is caught between two rocks. Well, then we can't sink, said his wife. But the ship may break apart, he said. We must get to shore. People were running across the deck. Sailors were making the small boats ready. Admiral Somers shouted through a horn, "Women and children, into the first boat!" Amanda and Jemmy and Meg crowded in with the others. Men were there to row. The boat swung down over the side. A wave lifted it high and carried it away. Amanda was between Jemmy and Meg. They were on their knees in the bottom of the boat. "I see land," shouted Jemmy. Amanda saw it too. It was like a long shadow through the rain. "There's land," she said, with her mouth close to Meg's ear. Meg didn't answer. She was hiding her face under Amanda's arm. Amanda held her breath as the boat dipped and rocked from one wave to another. They reached the shallow water near the shore. There the waves were not so high. The roar of the storm was not so loud. She began to hear voices of the people about her. She heard a woman ask, "Is this Virginia?" A sailor answered, "This is an island. The admiral says it is Bermuda." The woman set up a wail, "Bermuda is where the devils are." Another woman wailed with her, "The devils made the storm and wrecked the ship. They'll never let us on the land." "Devils or not," said the sailor, "I mean to land this boat." Amanda watched the shore. Now she could see a white strip of land next to the water, with green woods beyond. The boat scraped the sand. The men helped the women and children out. Amanda and Jemmy and Meg started up across the beach. It was hard for them to walk on land. They were used to the ship that kept moving under their feet. Meg had a hold of Amanda's dress. "This is your land."